Aw, yeah, it's time for another episode of the Comic Book Kaiju. I am your host, Trent Justin Vactor. I'm here with the big largeness himself, Chris Eaton. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I am doing very well because not only am I talking to the mouth of the South, Chris Eaton, but also we have on the line, he's back, Memphis's own Mercy Daddy, Markus Seaberry.
Yeah, baby. In town, anything you feel me.
Yeah, a little hustle and flow. And we are ready to go, my friends. On this episode, we're going to be talking about She-Hulk Attorney at Law, episode 1. So if you have not seen She-Hulk, go pause the video, pause the podcast, watch it, and come back because we're going to be spoiling it as we do. But actually, before we do that, I got a review. Now, this is from May of 2022 on, I don't even remember what the podcast was called back then. It wasn't Comic Book Kaiju, but I wanted to read it real quick, and it will be apparent why in a second. So great. The host is enthusiastic and keeps me interested throughout the episode, helps me better understand the movies. Oh, okay. So this is back when I was doing movies on this podcast, and piques my interest in reading the comics he promotes. I heard his wife is pretty cool too, but I don't know. And that comes in from Vactor, my wife. So she gave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. So,
There we go, baby. Nepotism, baby. Nepotism.
It's nepotastic.
I wish Apple would tell us when we got reviews, because I wouldn't have waited 3 months to read that. So that was an Apple Podcast review. And if you'd like to leave a 5-star review, you can always do that in Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as well as leaving us a comment on YouTube. And if you haven't yet, come on, click the like button and hit the subscribe so you know when there's always going to be a new episode, as well as I'm doing those short form videos on YouTube. So if you want to get that content, check it out. Every day I'm trying to post comic news and character profiles. So we'll get all those things in the show notes. And one more thing before we get to She-Hulk, don't forget, our book of the month is Nightwing Volume 1, Leaping into the Light by Tom Taylor. We're going to be talking about that. That's our book of the month for August. So we will, at one point, do that. So read that book, come back, listen to our podcast. All right, now that that's all out of the way, boys, house cleaning is done. Oh, actually, you know what? No, there is one more thing. Mr. Seaberry has posted his new figure alerts on our Instagram. So you can head over to instagram.com/CBKpod. That's just Comic Book Kaiju Pod, where you will see the video form of Markus Seaberry. So those are great. Seaberry, you're doing a bang up job on those. So keep them coming.
And I want to throw a little asterisk. New means new purchases.
Yes.
Sometimes I buy old stuff. Sometimes it's some retro 90s. Sometimes it's brand spanking new, but come along on this journey with me, guys.
Yeah, Seaberry says sometimes I buy old, sometimes I buy new. Wake up in the morning. I don't know the rest. Anyways, that's what is coming down the pipe for us.
Did you just try to do a Mace?
Well, you could. That was a Vactor original right there. That was
okay.
Brand new. We'll put it that way.
Off the dome, as it
were. But let's get right into the Woman of the Hour, She-Hulk Attorney at Law, episode 1, A Normal Amount of Rage. So this is the latest Disney Plus Marvel show. Now, actually, I don't think I've gotten both of yours. Before we get into She-Hulk, Mr. Eaton, I'm going to ask you first. What has been your experience with the Disney Plus stuff for Marvel?
I haven't yet gotten to Miss Marvel. I really want to. I did watch Moon Knight, enjoyed it quite a bit. Liked Falcon the Winter Soldier quite a bit. Honestly, I think that might be my favorite one that they've done thus far. Of course, I watched the Daredevil stuff before it was ever on Disney Plus.
Yes.
I don't know if that's considered canon anymore, but that's been my favorite, I believe.
Yeah, and they're coming out with that Born Again show on Disney Plus.
I'm very excited to see that.
I wonder if they're going to have that as continuity from the previous Netflix show.
Well, it's the same
Oh, okay,
so
good.
It might be.
Yes. Seaberry, what has been your experience with the MCU stuff?
Let me see. I've liked most of them. You know, I like Hawkeye. I like
But
WandaVision.
Hawkeye.
I love the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yo, I might need to watch Moon Knight again because I still don't know what the hell happened on it. I mean, I was literally like watching episodes back to back, like, okay, I still don't understand. I was like, I mean, I tried, but like, I literally remember 2 Moon Knight storylines in my life.
Right.
I was just like, but I mean, most stuff has been cool, you know, because it's kind of like, I guess, stepping up from like when Netflix had those series, and now it's like everything is unified because it's all under Big Papa Feige.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, like I said, most of them it's been kind of like from cool to yes, I loved it, and you know, the one exception being Moon Knight, where I was just like WTF the whole time. I just like, all right.
Okay. And I also have not shared my opinion on this podcast before. So I will say that Loki has been my favorite. WandaVision was number 2. And then everything else I enjoyed but did not love. So everything else is just in the middle for me. But
I forgot about the first 3 shows you just mentioned. I'm a bad fan. I've watched all those too, but
Oh yeah, I've got to say Loki, man. Loki was flames, bro.
yes.
Loki was good.
So in that tradition, when I started up She-Hulk Attorney at Law, I said, all right, there's going to be a comedy. She's going to be breaking the fourth wall. Let's see what we have in store. And gentlemen, let's start off by just saying our overall thoughts. I know Mr. Eaton has a hot take, so we're going to get to him last. But I just want to say my overall thoughts. When I watched episode 1, I was grinning from ear to ear. The comedy worked for me in general. And when I was done with it, I said, that's exactly what I wanted. Ally McBeal with superpowers. That's exactly what I got. So I was very pleased with this first episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I still don't know what the show is going to be overall because this was just kind of like an origin for her. But I'm very happy with the writing so far. I think that's the strongest part of it to me. So before we get to Hot Take Eaton, let's get to Memphis Hot Sauce Seaberry.
I don't even use hot sauce. So y'all go. But look, man, it was fine. I didn't hate it. I wasn't just like, yeah, best first episode ever. That's normally me though, man. Like, particularly with all this origin stuff, and you know, it's a very toned down, nice little origin story. Nothing like the comics. But I'm like, okay, because like her origin from the comics probably would have taken away from the comedy vibe. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I mean, like I said, it was cool. It was fine. I was happy to see Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner in the Hook, and Tatiana Maslany. She's a solid actor. You know, had a friend who loved Orphan Black. I never got into it, but I would see clips and I'm like, okay, she's good. You know, I it was cool. You know, I am hopeful and optimistic that my enthusiasm and excitement for episodes will go up as they ramp it up.
Okay, excellent. And Mr. Eaton, I've been waiting and debating for oh so long to hear this hot take. So let us have it.
Okay, so I've seen a lot of criticism of this show around the internet. A lot of it calling it, I believe, a quote from in what I consider to be a disreputable source referred to it as "quote unquote" woke garbage. I don't see that at all. However, I had a few qualms with this show. One, I I know it's trying to be a comedy, but we haven't really seen that in this universe yet. And so it kind of puts the pedal to the metal on the comedy, like kind of straight away, which on one hand is a gutsy kind of thing to do for a new tone in this genre or in this space.
Right.
but I don't know that it sticks the landing. And here's why I say that. For me, like, yes, the actress is fantastic. Yes, it was good to see Mark Ruffalo. The dialogue from Hulk in particular rang false to me, just from a writing standpoint. Like, for example, I don't for a minute believe, even if he's talking to family or friends or whatever, that Hulk or Bruce Banner, either one, is calling anybody bruh. Like, that it just rang false to me. And it, I don't know, when you say it's an origin, it's barely that. It kind of skips over the origin, which, I mean, it very quickly explains about the whole, blood transfusion thing or whatever. But I think it kind of starts kind of in the middle. If you want an origin, and listen, I'm happy for there not to be one, because I feel like pretty much everybody gets She-Hulk, or even if they don't, probably doesn't really need an origin. It's She-Hulk, right? But this thing to me felt, I didn't feel like there was a flow to it, to the actual structure of the episode. Now that could be what they're going for. If they're going for a more sitcom-y type of thing.
Right.
I did like the fourth wall breaking. I'm a sucker for fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
Much like yourself. I think that worked. I just felt like a lot of, particularly Ruffalo's dialogue, just fell flat for me, and it took me completely out of the show.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was seeing some stuff online of people having the up and down of the flow, like you said, of the show, where they felt like it was just kind of inconsistent. Seaberry, did you feel any inconsistency, or did you feel kind of the same tone all the way through?
I mean, I guess it was the same tone. Like I said, I was just like, I don't know. It was a little weird. I guess the way they had, Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner / Hulk. Like, I was a little put off by, like, you straight up could have murdered her if she could. Oh,
right.
Like, I don't know if Bruce would do that, man.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was, Seaberry, with it. Was I felt like this was like Mark Ruffalo. He was playing the character, but not once in any movie that he's been in as Hulk has he talked like that. Has he had that rhythm? Has he? Now, granted, he's talking to family, and I know we're kind of after wartime, but like, we needed to see that somewhere else. That rhythm, that sense of humor. We don't really get it except for that one scene in the diner in Endgame. And even then, it's not the same pace or rhythm. And I know it's a different writer, right? That makes sense, but it was just jarring for me.
I wonder if that's the direction that they're going to go in the future. Now, we saw a tease, and I was actually going to make a short TikTok on this. I may still do it, but we saw a tease for World War Hulk with the ship coming down and trying to question Banner. Who knows where that's going to lead? But I wonder if that's the direction they want to take him in. Like you said, in the diner scene, that's the first time we saw the smart Hulk and the merging of the personalities. I wonder, yeah, I'm just kind of curious, I don't know any behind the scenes stuff on it, but that would be interesting if that's where they're going to take him. I think that's the same type of criticism that I saw a lot for Love and Thunder. Now, Seaberry was on our Love and Thunder review episode. Mr. Eaton, you were not. Did you get the same vibe from Love and Thunder?
I have not seen Love and Thunder yet.
That actually comes out on Disney Plus on September 8th, so very soon you'll be able to see that.
I'm beyond that.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that and come back to it. I don't want to, set any expectations for you, but it'll be interesting to see how the comedy on that one lands for you of Taika Waititi versus Jessica Gao in this one. Jessica Gao is the main creative force behind this show. She actually worked on Rick and Morty and has a lot of comedy background. So
if she worked on Rick and Morty, I can, like, it's not a direct take from that, but I definitely can hear that a similar rhythm.
She actually won an Oscar. Or, I'm sorry, she won an Emmy for the Pickle Rick episode. She wrote the Pickle Rick episode.
Okay.
So that's just a little bit of background, which I found out earlier
Which is
this
a great
week.
episode.
Yes. Yeah, so Seaberry, you talked about Tatiana Maslany, and I had been wanting to watch Orphan Black, and it was one of those things that it was on my Amazon Prime watch list forever, for years, and I just never got around to it. So I actually got around to watching the first couple episodes this week, or right before the first episode of She-Hulk, and got a little sense of her acting ability, because she hasn't really been in a whole lot. Orphan Black was really the big name thing that she's been in so far. But yeah, I thought she did a great job of translating the lawyer aspect of Jen Walters, and then, like I said, the comedy. I think out of all three of us, the comedy worked the most for me, and so her delivery and also the relationship between her and Mark Ruffalo, Hulk, and Jen Walters, that really rung true for me, that they were a family unit. And then even the Captain America stuff, all of that kind of humanized them to me, made them like, oh, these are my friends. I'm enjoying spending time with them. And
the
that
Captain America thing did get me.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, man. Like, well, no, this is even about the show. I'm just concerned about the intelligence level of people these days. Y'all really just thought Steve Rogers wasn't banging all the time?
I could see both. I was thinking about this. This was something that I had not thought about before, but the show brought it into the front of my consciousness, and I said, I could see it going both ways. Either, okay, after he becomes Captain America, he's got the desirable look, and women are going to be flocking towards him. But then I could also see him remaining celibate because, number one, for Peggy, and that time period that he comes from was a lot more reserved, I think. And the elements of Captain America being that Boy Scout, and that's like Superman, same thing. I could see him remaining celibate. So I guess it just depends on who's writing Captain America at the time. But yeah,
you're now tuned in to Captain America Sex Logistics with Chris Eaton, Markus Seaberry, and Justin Vactor.
I never had a thought. I thought he was in the game.
Okay. That's, like I said, that's a valid take.
I never thought either way.
And while I'm talking about people just being real unintelligent and disappointing me, all this, Deadpool broke the fourth wall first. No, it didn't. Deadpool does not start breaking the fourth wall until Joe Kelly takes over his comic in 1997.
That is correct.
She began breaking the fourth wall in her solo book written by John Byrne in 1989.
Yes.
So,
accurate.
A lot of little misconceptions out there. I'm like, I just need y'all to be better and do your Googles.
And Seaberry, do you have a lot of experience with the John Byrne run or even the Dan Slott run?
I've got a trade collecting the first part of the John Byrne run. I've kind of read parts here and there, like I don't know. I was such a little, I don't know, misguided child. It was just hard for me to buy a book with the woman lead.
Yeah.
I was ignorant, and I'm trying. I'm better now, but
that's a lot of like cultural influence and the way you were raised, and also your peer group. So that's completely understandable, Seaberry. I'm actually really enjoying the current run right now that's going on by Rainbow Rowell.
I bought the first issue.
Yeah,
great writer.
Yeah, I love those colors and the covers. I should say the colors too, but the covers have been fantastic on there, and I'm enjoying the story.
I was reading the Dan Slott monthly for a while because that's like during Civil War now, right? And I was like reading that on a monthly basis for a minute, man. Then I just kind of fell off. But I mean, I will say this though, I prefer a funny She-Hulk because now every once in a while somebody will say, "Hey, let's make her really savage. Let's make her a rage monster, like her cousin." And I'd be
Yeah.
like, "But why? I don't want that from her.
Right.
I want her to be funny, and I want her to have a nice libido.
Right.
That's been part of She-Hulk too. Like She-Hulk is sexually promiscuous. She, you know, she enjoys the intercourse. Like it's just her.
Would you? And we've seen that in the trailers too. There's a little bit of that coming up. I didn't get the screeners. Like I saw a bunch of reviewers got 4 episodes. I didn't get that, but we saw it in the trailer that she will be having a healthy libido. But Seaberry, would you compare her to um, a Black Widow? Someone who has kind of been with everybody in the Marvel universe?
I guess. But like Natasha's so discreet about it though. You know what I'm saying? She-Hulk like messy with it. You know, like
she put it out on Front Street, Seaberry.
yeah, like you gonna see her doing. I don't really think it should be called the walk of shame, but you gonna see her on like the morning after stroll.
Oh, okay.
You know, man, like going to your Walgreens. Like, hey, wait a minute, ain't that the dress you wore the night before? Yeah, shut up, mind your business.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, but that's part of her. That's what makes her endearing to me. And of course, just the whole woman in the city trying to get dreams, trying to find trying to balance the love and the super heroics. I mean, that is what I love about She-Hulk.
And that's what I was saying, like the Ally McBeal aspect of it. And I know that was an influence for them as they were writing it. I'm actually, the Dan Slott run is on my list of shame. I remember when it was coming out and everybody was talking about it and saying how good it was, but I just never got around to it. So that's one that now that I have Marvel Unlimited and you have like access to everything, it's kind of like Netflix when you're like, oh, I have access to everything. Oh, wait, now I don't know what to choose. I'm sitting there for 30 minutes trying to pick what to watch or what to read.
Choice paralysis.
Yes.
Yes, that sounds like me on Netflix a lot of times. I'd be like, but this or this and this and this.
Yeah. And I got to say, the end credits, and I did do a TikTok and an Instagram reel on this. The end credits are fantastic. And it looks like we're going to have the same company doing each end credit, but they did them in kind of like a courtroom sketch variation. That was
a nice touch. Yeah.
And I like that. Also, in the episode itself, you saw the courtroom artist and they were sketching on a tablet. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Like, I didn't even think, I'm sure we all do. We all come from the era of either the stenographers on the typewriters and then the artist just sketching on pen and paper. But we are now in the digital age, boys. So they're up there on their tablets, and that was cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to my typing teacher, Mr. Coleman, thanks for nothing.
I did want to say before we close out, because I think we've discussed the good and the bad, and I think we're all we want to see where it goes from here. But I did really enjoy the opening line of the show is kind of what I think the show is going to try to examine. Like I said, I don't know exactly where it's going, but the first thing you hear out of Jen Walters is, what is the responsibility of those with power? Those with the most power have the most to answer for. And so her getting this power now and having this responsibility, I thought she was going to say with great power comes great responsibility for a second, but I want to see where that goes. And you saw with Hulk, this is also something I found interesting. And I turned to my wife when I was watching with her and I said, the way that the Hulk is with his powers, that's me. If I got superpowers, the first thing I'm doing is booking a flight to the Avengers Tower and say, all right, sign me up, boys. My wife, I think, would be more of the Jen Walters, and I have a life. I don't want to, lose everything. I thought that was very interesting. I don't know if Seaberry, has that ever been a storyline in the comics that you know
of? Oh, where I guess She-Hulk kind of shied away from the hero.
Yeah.
I mean, Not that per se, but now there was a run though where they were like, "Hey, we want Jennifer Walters. We don't really want the She-Hulk,
Hmm.
so she would be in the courtroom and at her office as Jen Walters, who But of course, trouble was still striking. She had to transform to She-Hulk, but like they have kind of dealt with that and like you know. I guess how she kind of shies away from being Jen Walters, or like she kind of used to,
Mhm.
because of, she hugs strong, she
Right.
hugs fun, she hugs a party girl. So they dealt with those elements, and
Okay.
I just want to say, yeah, about how you be if you have powers. Honestly, I would be Guy Gardner for about 2 months. And
Okay.
then, and then, all my church and upbringing and conscience gonna kick in. Then I'm gonna go train and try to figure it out.
It reminded me of another Disney connection. Her attitude toward being a hero and everything like that. The movie Moana.
Yes.
Maui, the Rock's character,
Yes.
spends about the first quarter of the time that he's in the movie trying not to be in the movie.
Yeah. Right.
And I see that same thing with She-Hulk,
Yeah.
which is an interesting way to take it, and I'm eager to see where it goes.
Yeah. And it's always, that classic, the hero's journey, the call to action,
Yeah,
like
right.
trying to bring him in. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. But like I said, I think it worked for me a lot more than it worked for the two of you. So we'll see where it goes. And that end credit sequence at the Captain America blanks was chef's kiss.
That got me.
I laughed out loud when I saw that.
Yeah, it was funny.
And apparently, every episode is going to have a or post credits stinger, so stay tuned for that. And also, go ahead, Seaberry.
I just said I'm with that, man.
Yeah. I was going to say also stay tuned to the comic book kaiju, because not only are we going to be coming back every week and reviewing She-Hulk as it premieres, but also we've got our book of the month coming up, Nightwing Volume 1, Leaping into the Light. And actually, there's a link down below if you want to get it from Amazon. You want to pick that up. Yeah, I'll let you do that, and then we'll come back and talk about it on our Book of the Month Club. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, CBK Pod, which is just Comic Book Kaiju. We have our individuals. I'm just Vactor everywhere, pretty much, except for on TikTok. I'm Vactor Loves Comics. But Mr. Eaton, where can they find you on the internet?
At Chris Eaton on Twitter, at Chris Eaton on TikTok.
And Markus Seaberry, not only are you on all those socials, but you're also reviewing movies for Cine Sundry. And I know you just had a Bullet Train episode.
Yeah. Have a movie review show called Cine Sundry. I do it in association with On Location Memphis. That's an organization kind of likes to highlight music and movies and things of that nature. You can watch Cine Sundry on the On Location Memphis Facebook page or the On Location Memphis YouTube channel. And yeah, like my most recent review to come out is Bullet Train. Also, Emily the Criminal and Beast are coming.
Ah, excellent. Okay, so stay tuned for that, my friends. Don't forget to leave us a comment down below, maybe what you thought about She-Hulk Episode 1, where you'd like to see the show go, and leave us a 5-star review in Apple and Spotify if you'd be so kind. We would greatly appreciate it. And also tell your friends that Comic Book Kaiju is here. We're having some great episodes, I think. We're on a good run right now. We just had Spawn Editor-in-Chief Thomas Healy on the show to come on and talk not only his comic book origin story, but what's going on in the Spawn universe right now. So if you ever were interested, or if you wanted to get into the Spawn universe, check out issue 6 or episode 6 of the Comic Book Kaiju for some great Thomas Healy goodness. And perhaps you'll be hearing Thomas Healy joining us on our wrestling podcast, the Kickout Kaiju. If anyone's interested, all three of us, Markus Seaberry, Chris Eaton, and myself, Trent Justin Vactor, are all talking the Lord's sport, professional wrestling, on Kickout Kaiju. So definitely check that out. And I'd like to thank all of you for listening to the Comic Book Kaiju, where we love comics, and you should too.